Distinguished representatives, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the learning event on IFAD's support to infrastructure. All protocols observed. Allow me to begin by introducing myself. My name is Alexander Vocha and I am the coordinator of the Evaluation Communication Unit at IFAD's Independent Office of Evaluation, and it is my great pleasure to welcome you all. During today's event, we will have the opportunity to share lessons and experiences on infrastructure based on the evidence collected from 35 IFAD-funded projects, which took place between 2001 and 2019. I wish to thank each and every one of you for your availability to participate in this online session. I am very pleased to note that we have a very rich and diverse group of participants representing a broad range of stakeholder groups. I am sure that the depth of this participation will pave the way for a thought-provoking discussion on the relevance, effectiveness, and overall contribution of infrastructure investments towards poverty reduction and their role in IFAD's future projects. And now, without further ado, it is my great pleasure to introduce the new director of IFAD's Independent Office of Evaluation, Dr. Indran A. Naidoo. Dr. Naidoo is a globally recognized thought leader, manager, author, instructor. Over the past 25 years, Dr. Naidoo has spearheaded international reform initiatives, transforming the oversight function across the United Nations system and the public sector. Indran, the floor is yours.
Distinguished representatives, ladies and gentlemen, I am delighted to welcome you today to this learning event on infrastructure at IFAD. The event will lay the foundation for an exchange of lessons and experiences related to the effective support of infrastructure. It would also be an opportunity to discuss IFAD's way forward under the themes guiding the 12th replenishment, recovery, rebuilding, resilience. Let me begin by raising a question. Why does support to infrastructure play such a critical role in poverty reduction? The 2005 UNDP study, Making Infrastructure Work for the Poor, points out direct and indirect linkages. For example, access to clean water and improved transport are essential for schools and health facilities, helping to improve livelihoods in multiple ways. These Sustainable Development Goals also include a specific goal related to infrastructure, SDG 9, to build resilient infrastructure, promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization, and foster innovation. Significant investments and last-mile infrastructures are needed to achieve the SDGs and ensure that no one is left behind. And this is where IFAD's expertise comes in, financing small-scale, last-mile, and community-based infrastructure. Infrastructure plays a pivotal role in IFAD's 2016 to 2025 strategic framework, which sees enormous potential in infrastructure investments as they support agricultural, commercialization, and market access of the rural poor. Investments in social and productive infrastructure, for example, help to increase productive capacities. Investments in land and water conservation and climate-proof infrastructure serve to strengthen the environmental sustainability and climate resilience of economic activities. Infrastructure investments constitutes a significant share of IFAD's portfolio. Between 2001 and 2019, about 30% of all approved IFAD funding went towards infrastructure. In addition, IFAD is invested in institutional development and capacity building to ensure that small-scale farmers are able to manage and maintain the infrastructure built. In many cases, these investments have been possible thanks to co-financing partnerships with other international development partners. IOE's Evaluation Synthesis Report reviews the experience, lessons, and results of IFAD's investments in infrastructure between 2001 and 2019. The report confirms these investments were relevant and effective and have contributed to poverty reduction. In addition to these positive aspects, the synthesis also identifies some areas of concern that require further attention. Drinking water has been an essential area of IFAD support for a very long time. Access to clean water, in fact, is the top priority for poor rural women and men. Yet, IFAD investments in drinking water have plunged in recent replenishments. In addition, the synthesis found that sustainability were often low. This is related to the poor technical quality of the infrastructure provided and the weak arrangements for ownership and maintenance. Many of IFAD's investments were delivered through community-based approaches. In this context, IFAD will need to build on its clear competitive advantage in the provision of small-scale, climate-smart, and pro-poor infrastructure. Meeting the demand of the poor will require careful balancing of productive and market infrastructure with infrastructure that caters for basic needs. In the coming years, IFAD will have to meet the increasing demand for infrastructure, particularly in middle-income countries. This will require a strategy for scaling up infrastructure investments. It will require IFAD to step up its internal technical capacity and guidance to meet existing challenges. Limited availability of specialized technical staff, climate risk expertise, and capacity to track the performance of infrastructure investments from design through to implementation and completion will need to be addressed in a timely fashion. Before going any further, I would like to extend a warm welcome to our distinguished panelists and guests, and to my colleague, Johanna Pennarz, Lead Evaluation Officer, IOE, who will present the main findings and lessons from the evaluation synthesis on IFAD support to infrastructure. This presentation will be followed by a first round of feedback from experienced IFAD country directors and technical advisors. They will provide first-hand insights into issues related to the design, procurement, and implementation of infrastructure investments on the ground. Then, Ms. Maiki van Ginneken, Associate Vice President, Strategy and Knowledge Department, IFAD, will give her address. The address will be followed by a panel discussion with IFAD technical experts, which will present how IFAD could scale up its investments in infrastructure based on lessons learned and in line with its competitive advantage. After this panel discussion, there will be a question and answer session, followed by closing remarks by Fabrizio Falloni, Deputy Director, IOE. I will now give the floor to Ms. Johanna Pennarz. I thank you for your attention and look forward to a fruitful discussion. Thank you.